Sir, can you please tell us what are the key takeaways from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy?
Sri Aurobindo's philosophy is normally considered quite complex, but one can reduce it to a few important essentials. Probably the most important thing that he has emphasized is life affirmation. Over the last 1,000 years or so, in our country particularly, had developed an idea that spirituality is only for a select few who renounce the world and retire to the Himalayas or to a cave. And we, the ordinary ignorant people, because of the various obligations and compulsions and responsibilities that we have, cannot really live a spiritual life. Now, this was something which is not a part of our ancient Indian culture. The Vedic culture was a highly vibrant, life-embracing, life-encompassing culture. And not only that, till about 1,000 years ago, India was second to none when it came to not only to spirituality, but also in the material sphere, whether it was prosperity or whether it was science and technology. Which means that all the progress in the material sphere is perfectly compatible with the spirituality. And in fact, taking spirituality away and feeling that it is not meant for ordinary worldly life only impoverishes worldly life, degrades it, leads to a degeneration, particularly when it comes to moral values. And therefore, it was important to once again emphasize the distortion that had somehow crept in the Indian psyche, that worldly life is something which has a place for spirituality. In fact, spirituality can enhance it, ennoble it, enrich it. And the basic thesis is, it's not that he was just trying to correct a social evil. The basic thesis is based on deeper truths of existence. The world and worldly life are a manifestation of the divine. They are another form of the divine. So if we believe in the divine as the unmanifest supreme power, we cannot reject another aspect of it which is visible to us, which is in action. So you can't accept one part of that and reject the other. Therefore, worldly life, although it seems highly imperfect, and our picture of the divine is perfection, but and worldly life is imperfect. The manifestation is imperfect, but since it is a manifestation of the perfect, it is capable of moving towards perfection. And therefore, as human beings who are unique in having this capacity, should work towards transforming our own nature, that is human nature, which means take that human nature towards the divine, towards the nature of the divine. So that is what essentially rising in consciousness means. That is, that changes human nature. So we should work towards changing human nature, and as the human nature changes, the world will change. The world will become a much better place to live in. So their whole thesis was that don't treat the world as a piece of fiction, as a piece of falsehood, or as an illusion. It is a manifestation of the divine, and therefore don't reject it. Instead, seek to transform it so that it befits the one that it manifests. So life affirmation, a life-affirming version of spirituality, is one of the key takeaways from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. The second, which is closely related to it, is evolution. If we consider evolution from the spiritual point of view, it all began with the creation of matter. When the all-powerful, all-knowing creator decided to create the universe, it became the universe. It became the material universe. Now that was a great fall. Just imagine the all-knowing, all-powerful divine becoming matter, which seems to know nothing and can apparently do nothing. And then started the process of evolution. This all-knowing, all-powerful divine becoming matter was an involution. Now started the opposite process. The opposite process is evolution, which means that the hidden consciousness of the divine now started manifesting itself bit by bit in small steps. The first, now instead of matter, we had in it life, so that now it became living organisms. Then the next major leap was the appearance of mind. So then we had creatures which had a mind. Human being is the latest product of this, and the human mind, the intellect, is something which is far superior to that of any other creature that has come so far. But then the human being also manifests only a small fraction of the divine consciousness. And if the trend of evolution is any indication, this is not the end. The evolution is still going on, and human being will give way to a creature who will manifest the hidden divinity even better than the human being. But then human beings are unique. The uniqueness of human beings is that they themselves have this urge to evolve further, and they also have the capacity to do it. So that is where the human being differs from the animals. And therefore, again, this is one of the important takeaways from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, that we should all work towards a conscious evolution. Evolution will take place anyway for the slow natural process, the way animals evolved into human beings. So further evolution will go on in spite of our efforts or irrespective of our efforts. But as conscious human beings, if we want to live a meaningful life, we should try to evolve consciously, make a conscious effort to evolve. And that is what basically yoga is about. Yoga is essentially conscious evolution. So we should be walking that path, and not because somebody has told us so, because that is what really gives us all the things that we are looking for. Happiness, peace of mind, good health, a sense of fulfillment. All that comes by working towards a conscious evolution of our own consciousness that is manifesting our hidden divinity a little better. In very simple words, becoming a better person. So, when we do that, we, of course, there's a shade of a difference. You smile when I said becoming a better person. Why then make it so complicated? The reason why I make it so complicated is that it's possible to be a good person without getting into yoga or spirituality. That's quite possible. At a mental level, we can decide what a good person should do, and we can consciously do it. Of course, we'll be still practicing yoga unconsciously. We'll be on the same path. But then the difference is twofold. One is that then we'll be entirely on our own. Because we are relying entirely on our own efforts, we will not be open to divine grace. The second thing is that just because a person has become a good person doesn't mean that he becomes immune to a road accident or a heavy financial loss or a failed marriage or an incurable illness. Now, all these difficulties, problems, traumatic events of life may still happen to a person who has decided to be a good person, and then he starts feeling, why me? Why is it happening to me? On the other hand, if the person is practicing yoga, he's on the spiritual path, then when these things happen to him, he does not get upset. He knows that this does not make me immune to it. Instead, he looks upon these also as opportunities for further spiritual growth. He looks upon them as opportunities to accelerate this process of evolution. So these events can, in fact, accelerate the process of evolution of consciousness. So he looks upon them in that way, and therefore he's not upset. That is what gives us samatva. Samatva is accepting everything with equal. This is samatvam yoga uchyate. That is, samatva is yoga. Samatva is called yoga. Samatva is treating both ups and downs of life, joys and sorrows, with equal delight. You can accept them with equal delight only if you see both of them as opportunities. We can grow through good fortune, we can also grow through misfortune. Both can be opportunities for further spiritual growth. So, and that's why, while it is good to be a good person, and a good person can do just as much good to the world as a spiritual person can. A person who's trying to evolve out of good to the world, and even the person who is just doing it without being conscious of yoga or spirituality, he can do just as much good. But for his own peace of mind, it is better to go get a little deeper and then understand this from the spiritual point of view. So that is where it comes in. So anyway, so we were on the second important takeaway, and that is evolution. So human beings have this urge and the capacity to evolve further, and they should try to use it not only for themselves but for the world. And that takes us to the third important takeaway. That is a futuristic view of the world. Sri Aurobindo believed that the mental consciousness has reached more or less its peak, and therefore we are ready for the next leap in evolution. And that next leap will change human nature in a radical manner. It will bring about a perceptive shift, a major shift in the level of consciousness, so that human nature will change in a remarkable way. It will be one major leap, something like the leap from animal to man. It will be that sort of a leap. And if a large number of people, it happens to a large number of people, they could reach a certain critical mass. They could cross a certain threshold level. When that threshold level is crossed, the affairs of the human world will be conducted from that higher plane of consciousness. And that will be the ultimate solution to all the problems of human existence. What are the basic problems of human existence? Inequality, injustice, cruelty, misery, suffering. These are things that we have taken for granted. We take them as a part of the world, that these are unavoidable, inevitable. And we keep looking for short-term solutions, and many short-term solutions, even a lot of social work and gone. But somehow this still continues. These evils, these problems of human existence still continue. Why they continue is because basic human nature has not changed for a long time. Once human nature itself undergoes a change, then, and it happens to a large number of people, then they will dominate the affairs of the world, and that is how we will get a better world. So if futuristic view of a much better world than the world that we live in is the third important takeaway. And how will that happen? By a larger number of people consciously engaging in this process of evolution, trying to evolve further, which in turn will change their nature. Now, a large number of people doing it will also be probably because we have reached a tipping point in evolution when a large number of human beings are now arriving in this world with that opening towards a new type of life, towards a more meaningful life. And in their search, they'll find this spiritual wisdom and they'll start doing it. So the more we can make people aware of it, the better. But to some extent, it is, one can already see that it is happening. The number of people who are open to spirituality, the number of people who are searching for meaning in life is growing all over the world. So we can look forward to that brighter world. And what will be the basic difference between the world in which we live now and that world? The basic difference will be that the ordinary mental consciousness that we now have primarily makes us egos. When one is driven by the ego, then it's always me first. Instead, the new consciousness, which will be at a higher level, will be driven not by ego but by love. And the basic difference is love is about giving what we have to those who need it. So the other person who needs it comes first. So it's a shift from ego to love. And both have been planted in us. While we have an ego, we also have a need to love and be loved. So love is that seed that has been planted in us to motivate us to move towards that higher consciousness. So basically, what it means is that to be on the spiritual path, if one has to sort of say just one word, one has to practice love. So by becoming a more loving and caring person, we can all sort of move in the direction which will not only improve our own lives as individuals, but it will change the very character of the world, because if everybody is good, or at least a large number of people is good, so that they can dominate the planet, then the world has changed. So that is the type of vision Sri Aurobindo and the Mother has given. So 3 basic takeaways: life affirmation, spirituality is for all of us, bring it into daily life. Second, evolution. Evolution is still going on, and the next leap in evolution is round the corner. And third, a futuristic view of a much better world.
Thank you, sir. The first point, life affirmation, it reminds me of the song. I guess the meaning reminded me of the song Sansar Se Bhage Firte Ho.
You may sing a few lines. Do you like to sing a line or two?
Okay, I'll
If you
try, sir.
remember.
Yeah. Hmm. संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को तुम क्या पाओगे, इस लोक को भी अपना न सके, उस लोक में भी पछताओगे, संसार से भागे फिरते हो.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.